Welcome to the Story-Eyed Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Jen. On this show, we talk about all things Williams syndrome. We're excited to share our community with you. Thanks for being here.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great, how are you?
Good. Hey, happy Thanksgiving week. When this comes out, it'll be a couple days before Thanksgiving.
Yes. Hopefully you're doing something fun.
Little gobble till you wobble. Today we have Carly Oberle, so I'll admit, Carly wrote us a while ago. Like it was a good chunk of time ago. Saying, hey, if you're ever, I'd be interested in being on. And I remember reading it, going, oh yeah, she's fascinating. We got to talk to her. Yeah. And then things come up and everything, and it kind of just slipped through the cracks and slipped my mind. And so then I was going back through and scheduling. And I was literally going back through, going, is there anyone that I missed that I remember going, okay, I really want to get. And it was like, oh my gosh, let's get her on.
I love meeting a mama with lots of big goals. So she was really fun to talk to. And now I feel like I love like bringing opportunities together and seeing like how I can connect things. And so I have been thinking about all the ways that we're going to connect and work together, because she has some similar dreams that I do of like just creating a world of inclusion for our people, not only with disabilities, but without, because sometimes there are people without disabilities who still feel on the fringe.
Yep.
I'm fascinated. I mean, it's a great discussion, and maybe a discussion worth having in more in depth. Inclusivity in sports. There is unified sports, and the Special Olympics does a fantastic job of bringing together athletes of all abilities. And then there's the other part where, like, my son participates in adapted sports, so everyone has to qualify as a particular type of with
athlete.
And there's also value in that, where it's something that is theirs. It is something that only people with these kinds of disabilities can experience. So the message that I wanted to make sure to get out there is it doesn't need to be either or.
No.
It should be and.
And it should be like based on the individual, right? Like on what they want and need.
And real quick shout out to the Park Center Pirates adapted PI soccer
world champions.
Let's go.
Minnesota is not quite the world yet.
World of Minnesota champions.
But I was so proud of my son and all of the kids on that team winning, state championship.
Well, I hope everybody enjoys this listen of Carly and how she started her nonprofit. Let's include Landon, and please like them, give them a follow, and think about them for Giving Tuesday. They're doing a lot of things in their neck of the woods.
All right.
All right. Yes.
Hi, I'm Morgan Jane Starkman from Inner Sense Organic Beauty, and I'm so excited to share something that I love, our Hair Renew Scalp Hair Bath and Soothing Conditioner. Soothes my hair and soothes my scalp irritation. These products leave my scalp feeling truly calm, and they make me feel confident and cared for, and I think you'll love them too. Let's take care of our scalp and hair together. Try them today and save 15% on your first purchase with my code Morgan15 at InnerSenseBeauty.com.
All right. Well, hello, Carly. How are you?
Good. How are you, Brendan?
Doing well. Doing great. So for those who might not know who you are, why don't you take a second to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I am Carly Oberle. I'm married to my husband, Mike, and we have 2 children. We have Landon, who is 10, who has Williams syndrome, and Austin, who is 7. And we live in Waxhaw, North Carolina, if you've heard of that. We are just south of Charlotte. And our family loves the sports and outdoors. We spend a lot of time. I coach my kids in basketball and baseball. So we spend a lot of time outside, biking, hiking, sports. And we are also involved in Cub Scouts. We love to go camping. and also involved in our church. And we love to go to the beach. Landon loves the beach. He loves the mountains. They love to travel. And I always played sports growing up. Sports was a huge part of my life. So I stopped working when I had Landon 10 years ago. I was a banker. So banker turned stay-at-home mom turned disability advocate.
So did you stop working because Landon was diagnosed with Williams syndrome, or it just felt like the natural time for you to be
Yeah, I think in my back of my mind, I always kind of thought that I would eventually stop working. And Landon, we didn't know when he was born that he had Williams syndrome. We found out when he was 4 or 5 months old. So I quit before that and wanted to go full stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, yeah. Good for you. Yeah. Stella was diagnosed at 5, and I was like a super intense working mom, and I did not want to quit my job, but it sort of ended up that that was like the best thing. And now I'm so grateful because I love supporting the 2 kiddos that I have. But man, that was a big change. So I'm always interested to hear mom's stories of how that evolution happened. So Landon's 10, and you said he was diagnosed at 4 months. How's that journey been for you guys?
Yeah, I think for me, I hear so many people talk about their journeys and all the emotional things that come with it. I just really, my uncle's actually a cardiologist. It's my mom's twin. And we had all these symptoms from Landon, and he was like, you should get him tested for Williams syndrome. So I was just reading all the things, and I just knew that he had it without a diagnosis. So when we got the diagnosis, I kind of already felt like I already knew. And so I feel like I was like, okay, I know. So now what? Like I'm in mama bear mode, and no one can tell me not to do any therapies. I'm going to do everything, you know?
Yeah.
And so we did. And I never really, I don't know. I don't know if I ever took a minute to kind of get emotional, or I don't know, think about it. I just kind of went to like, what do I do?
Well, I think that is interesting because I do see kind of 2 different themes. Like when people get diagnosed, I see the like, we're going to just grieve and we're going to be in it. And then I see the mama bear that's like, okay, like now what? And so I can very much relate to that. I'm also a very much now what kind of person. And my daughter Stella is 15 now, which is crazy town over here. I have 2 teens, which is an interesting thing. But I'm curious, like what has like life with Williams syndrome looked like? You said that you guys were really into like sports and doing a lot in your community. Has that really been your focus?
Yeah, I think it's like at every age, we try to figure out like what is the thing. Like you guys are now in your new phase of life. So it's kind of like when Landon was little, it was like, how can I get every therapy? We need to go over our annual therapies for our insurance because it's just so much. Like that was so much of a part of it. Like PT, OT, speech, feeding, music, equine therapy, just everything. And then really over the past 3 years, it's been sports, baseball. You know, like if I see an interest, I mean, in both of my kids, like as I'm sure you guys do, like in both my kids, if I see an interest, it's like pursuing that interest that's happening at the time. So Landon loved baseball. His cousin is a few years older and always played baseball. And we would go to his games when Landon was little. And we, got in a little bat set and everything. And he would just go out in the yard, like forever with this bat. And I was like, we need to see where this
goes. Do
goes.
something with this. Yeah.
I know. We moved to Waxhaw. We lived in Charlotte, in the greater Charlotte area for a long time, but we had just moved to Waxhaw in 2023. And so I called our local league. We have a couple of local sports leagues, and we were late registering. I did not tell them anything about Williams syndrome. I just got my kids registered, both of them, for baseball, and showed up, Yeah. And I really thought like we had to fight for our place in that league in the beginning. Like we really, really, really are right to be there, I would say. But Landon has since played, and my younger son, Austin, also plays, but Landon has played 5 seasons since
Okay.
then. And it's like a family if your kids play a sport, especially baseball, where you're just there for so many hours, so many days a week. But I mean, he was just so embraced. I think it's like the shifting from all the things like Williams syndrome to like shifting to, like what is your life? What is your talent? What is your interest? It's just like becomes unique for everyone. And so the coaches, the players, the families, I really feel like they rally around Landon. Like when we go to the fields, I just feel like we're with our family. Like everyone's like, Landon, what's up? How's it going? It's just like you just feel so at home. He just like feels completely himself. And I just feel like they don't even see Williams syndrome. They just see like he comes early. He doesn't miss any practice. He never misses a game. Like he even broke his pinky at the end of the last season or 2 seasons ago. He broke his pinky, and he's still dressed for games, and he's still with his little cast on. He still came to everything, and he still cheered for his team. Like he's so dedicated. But I just feel like sports, they just make kids feel so valued, so connected, so understood, and like but it's like also amazing to see him from the beginning, like his first game, like he couldn't even keep his glove on his hand because it would just come off. Like like in the end of the last season he played, like, or 2 seasons ago when he broke his pinky. But he was like scoring runs. He was like knowing how to, like he was making it safe to first base, like all on his own. He was looking up at coaches, knowing like when to run to the next base. Like he was doing that all himself, like how far he came. But it's because he was put in the environment with all the rest of the kids. Like he wasn't doing some alternate sport or some adapted sport. It's like putting you fully in the game, and the people seeing, oh my gosh, this child is so passionate. He even won a commissioner's choice award. Because he's just so passionate, and everyone can come see. Everyone loves coming to watch him because it's just so magical. Kind of at the same time that we moved to Waxhaw, I was starting to establish our nonprofit, and I always was thinking about Landon just playing sports because he's really the only one in basketball, and in his baseball and basketball. And I'm coaching like a running team now. He's really the only one ever, with a disability. And I was just thinking, if we put other kids, in this environment around people who are doing this, then in a more competitive way, that's not like just like throw the ball or just, like something that is just more competitive, then, won't they just learn like everyone else? So that's kind of happening at the same time.
And is that what Let's Include Landon is? Is it like sports focused? I guess let's share for people who don't know what Let's Include Landon is.
Okay, so Let's Include, for those who can see on the screen, it actually says disability inclusion. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh, very cool.
So it is, we started in, I think, the summer of 2023. We established the company, but we didn't actually do, we had our first 5K kickoff in the summer of 2024 because all the paperwork and things take a little bit of time and setting it up the right way. So the thought of the start of it was we want to bring kids with and without disabilities together through sports. But instead of the child with a disability being helped, it's really everyone playing on the same team, everyone doing the same skills, and whatever that child needs, whoever needs any extra help, like we will have a volunteer, we will have an occupational therapist, we'll have whoever, because some kids, might be on the sidelines and they want to join, but they just need like a little extra time or a little extra support that maybe in other sports, like people just wouldn't, wait for that to happen, So we also, but the thought is, so sports is kind of how it started. So we've done a basketball clinic, we've done a soccer clinic. We have our second soccer clinic coming up this Sunday. Okay. We have done swimming and we have done tennis. but then it kind of started where we then have done a lot of advocacy. So it
Yeah.
kind of turned into disability advocacy. So we've been in parades like the 4th of July parade and the
Yeah.
Christmas parade.
Yeah.
We've had 2 concerts, just, spreading awareness, and we've had 2 5Ks. And then we actually were invited to the Charlotte Nights. We were invited to the community corner. They have this community corner, which is kind of cool, where they highlight a nonprofit, and you can go and interact with the fans at the stadium, and so people can, learn more about you. So it's neat being able to, like, people learning about you, and then
Yeah.
kind of getting more. We've walked out onto the field with the Charlottetown Hops, which is a local soccer league, so
Right.
but we have done like daily clinics, but we really want to grow it to like week-long camps or even leagues. It
Yeah.
just takes time and money
And resources. Yeah.
and resources. Yeah. So
Yeah, I love that. So actually, I do something similar here in Colorado. I work with a group of people who are very much into developing opportunities for individuals with disabilities, and it's interesting because it also started in like a sports kind of lane, and they have a program over the summer, a basketball program where it's all summer long and the kids practice once or twice a week, and then they have a game. And we have a huge following. There are like 200 individuals with disabilities who play in this league. And so it's
So
also
cool.
with typical people, because you're right, Carly, like, and I always say this about just for example, like school, right? Like it's like they always say like, oh, well, you can either be in regular PE or you can be in, special ed PE. And it's like, well, why does there have to be both, right? Like, because there's some kids who are typical kids that just aren't great at PE. Like, why can't we just have like a slower pace PE for people that, want that. And it's the same with like our unified program here. A lot of kids who are, quote unquote, typical peers end up joining the unified experience because they like the pace and it allows them to compete in a way that works for them and they're not disabled. So it's very much like it's called unified here, but it's like a
Right.
unified movement of people who just enjoy playing sports, and some have disabilities and some don't. So I love it. And I definitely believe sports is for everybody. So if you ever want to be connected with my group,
oh
I'll
yeah, I love that.
connect you because we're definitely growing it too. But you're right. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of resources to coordinate. And yeah, it's a big movement that takes time to develop. So you guys don't just do baseball, you do basketball, you do other things like
Yeah, we always, so since it's kind of like it's a family effort, so it's like
Okay.
we all are involved. So
yeah,
and I'm not just talking about our immediate family in Landon and Austin, but I
Yeah.
mean my mom and dad, my sister
I love
is here with her family, and we have 3 cousins. They're my kids' 3 cousins that are involved. So I think but it like to what you were saying, it's funny because originally I thought it was going to be hard for the kids. I thought it would be harder to get the kids without disabilities to want to do this than the kids with disabilities. It's the opposite. Yeah, you're shaking your head. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like, because I think sometimes like it's harder for those families to trust people or know or think that their kid's going to get something out of it or really be included or all the things.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's funny trying to convince our friends who we know from the past, like schools or we had moved from a different neighborhood. Like it's just funny because you would think that those are the people that would jump at it,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, sports are so unifying. It's like it's just like you love the game, you all want to acquire new skills, you all want to feel challenged, like kids want to be with their friends. There's so many amazing things about
Yes.
sports, like you want to feel connected. Like that's Landon's biggest thing, and that's what we always saw when he was little. Beyond anything that made an impact, like therapy or anything, it was just him feeling like he belonged, like he had a place, like when he feels respected and valued and connected and understood, then he can shine his best,
Yes.
like all of us, right? So
I love that. I know I'm kind of a new sports mom. So like my girls grew up doing dance and that like I was kind of easy to manage, and Stella loves dance. She goes to a typical dance studio, and she is in a typical class, right, with like typical peers, and it's kind of like what you were talking about with Landon, who, everybody knows her, everybody, like she feels comfortable there, and I can tell that. And actually this semester, so Stella just started high school, and so now there's like more unified type of sports offerings. And so she didn't take it this last semester because we were trying to figure out her schedule. And just like every week, she's like, I miss dance. I miss dance.
aw.
So we're gonna pick it up again, maybe in the I guess like January, right? Because it's like semester long. But I think it's like so great that she has that. And then on the other side of it, like my other daughter is doing all kinds of sports, and so I'm like learning that whole world. And I've always been of the mindset, which probably sounds really radical, but like I just am like, why can't individuals with disabilities just like play on regular teams? Like, just figure it out and make it work. Is that like, does
I
that make
know.
sense to you?
So I know that's kind of what we're about, because I think there are places. So we have found that not just in baseball, but in basketball, we're doing running. I mean, Landon has done gymnastics, swimming, golf,
Yeah.
after school golf, like all these things. So we tend to just bring him or sign and then say, this is Landon, like, and then I feel like people generally, like we live in a really great community that they do want to figure out how to make it work. I think that maybe some of the sports teams and leagues would not turn people down. I mean, I think some would, and we definitely have been turned down where people have said your child can't be here, which is like so disheartening. And yeah, I think sometimes it's like what I was saying, like the parents of the children with the disabilities, like thinking, oh, they're just going to tell me that I can't do it or something, it's like almost like if more people tried to do it, I think maybe they would be welcomed, but if they are not, I mean, that's kind of where Let's Include is going. And it's Let's Include, it's called Let's Include Landon, but it's really Let's Include, it's the ... You're supposed to fill your name in. Let's include John, let's include Brendan, let's include everyone. But I think that that's kind of where I'm going, is we can all play, we can be competitive. Like we usually in our sports, like for basketball, we partnered with the local high school team, because Landon had gone to camp at the high school. And the camps are all super inclusive too. And he had gone to the camp, and so the basketball coach came and some of the teammates came and they helped us run that. Like when we had the soccer clinic, we had a whole bunch of professional coaches come volunteer, and our volunteers, like when we did swimming, we did it at the actual facility that Landon grew up going to since he was like 9 months old when he started swimming. We always try to have like a professional, I guess you could say, person,
like have it be legit. Yeah.
Like our tennis, it's people that we know in the neighborhood, but it's a woman who is ranked in the state. She plays on 7 different women's, like 7 different teams, that are adult teams. And so we always try to have people that we are like in our world that know Landon and know us, and know their kids, and kind of started in our community and then, grown from there. But we always try to have it so it's like is competitive, that you're not just like, okay, we're just going to go out and hit the ball back and forth. Like we're actually trying to do drills. We're actually trying to do the same level. And then I feel like the other kids see that. So and usually when we do sports, like we do at every time that we've done one of these now, we have done more where it's like a component where it's an activity. So like you're doing sports, but then you're taking breaks because they are still, little kids. Everyone, usually has the huddle where you talk to your coach. And so we'll have things like about inclusion, like worksheets or whatever, like draw a picture of what inclusion or write what like you feel like inclusion means to you. Or we'll have like a disability inclusion pledge where we have the kids, if they want to volunteer and like come up and sign it and like say, why it's like important to them. Like we're trying to get the kids to interact, because it's not just like inclusion is for people with disabilities. It's like inclusion is for everybody. There are kids that are left out for whatever reason, and people that are bullying and people that are doing whatever. And so, all these kids should relate. Like it's like getting them to realize like they can relate to this too. Like they can relate to inclusion. It's not just about someone who's like you think is different or, you know, and getting them young, like these kids that are in this community that we have, and I'm sure it's like in your unified community too. It's like they're not even going to think twice when they see someone when they're older. They're never going to think twice about how to treat that person. They're just going to be normal with them. You know what I mean? They're not going to ever, I don't know. They're just going to be like, this is a natural part of our life that we have people with disabilities in our communities, and they're just gonna, respect that person and value that person. And I think if they're just learning that from when they're young, they're just gonna do it,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so is your other son, Austin, he participates in it as well?
Yes. So Austin, it's so funny, you guys, yesterday after I was talking to Joel for a couple minutes, I said, Austin, I'm so nervous. What should I say on this podcast? And he literally, I should have videotaped him and played it for you. I will get him to do it for you guys, but he like went through the whole speech. He's like, we have a nonprofit, Let's Include Landon. He's like, we do fun activities for kids to participate in. And he's like, check us out at Let's Include Landon. He's like, we have merch. He's so
okay.
like a little pro. He's my little pro. But I know Austin, it's called Let's Include Landon, but it's really Let's Include, and fill in your name. So I just love them to be involved because I think like Austin sees that all these kids like see disability and see Landon, like they see him in a good light and they see this whole thing. It's like fun and it's not pushy and it's just kind of a friendly way to do it where their friends, like Austin's friends, can see and their families can see and they can understand our family better. They are great brothers. They get into little frustrations and little tiffs, but then he'll be like, I love Landon. I'm always going to take care of him. Like he'll say these super deep comments, because he is just a deeper soul because he just things that aren't a big deal. Like he just isn't thinking about those the way that other kids his age, think about them, I think,
Yeah.
Because he's thinking like long term, like what's my life going to be like? What's Landon's life going to be like?
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking on the 5K, why don't you tell us about the 5K shirt?
Okay, yeah, the 5K shirt. So this year we had all of Landon's friends, and Austin's friends, and Landon wrote on his writing is on there, even though writing is hard for him, and Austin's writing is on there. Wrote what inclusion meant to them on the front of this shirt. Inclusion means, and then what it meant. And I just think it's like, even when you ask, it's less about like, I mean, yes, people wear this. They actually had a day at school that was wear a kind phrase shirt. And some of the kids were wearing them, which was
That's so
great.
cool. I love that.
But I also think it's like when you're asking those kids to do that, even my own kids, like it's like them realizing, oh, look at this. This is important. And what do I think about it?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, I love that. We actually, for the soccer clinic, I let Austin draw a little soccer ball for this shirt. We always try to have it that he's included in some part of it, but I think it's like, it's funny because he was really did good at the soccer clinic, and some of the kids that did the tennis, they had never played before. And there were so many kids that were like, it's just trying something with no pressure that is a more competitive thing without signing up for, a year of tennis or something, trying something together, and all the kids, like discover something that they like,
Yeah. I mean, that is so true because like one thing, I don't know if this is everywhere, but at least it's like here in our area, it's like sports are crazy competitive. Like my youngest daughter just decided this year, she's in 7th grade, that she wanted to try out for volleyball. And I like realize as she's trying out for volleyball, like she is just starting this sport. And there have been people who've been preparing for like years for this moment. Right? And it's like, it's crazy because I'm like, why does everything have to be so competitive? Like, can't you just play for fun and like long skills and like, so that if you want to play basketball in a in your adulthood, like you can pick up a game, like
Mhm.
and I love that. I love the idea that like sports is for everybody and it doesn't have to be so like this doesn't have to be your life.
Yeah, and even if you do play, say you do play soccer super competitively or basketball, we have friends of theirs that are super competitive, but they still love it because it's
So
fun, it's no
yeah,
pressure.
less
You're
pressure.
doing, yeah, you're doing with your friends. It's a big group. You've got other activities. Like, I don't know. And I always do things. I kind of follow what obviously my children like to do. And I
Yeah.
mean, Landon is such a trooper. We will set up for these events. We will get there an hour early or stay an hour late. He has the fear of missing out. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are like this, but he doesn't want to miss it because he knows like all his friends and all the people in our life. It's kind of like when we go to these events, it's like a wedding sometimes. Like there are so many people that we are new and that we don't know, but there's so many people that help us that are Landon's friends, his tutors, just people in our life. And so it's so tiring going to these sometimes because they're participating, but
Yeah.
they're like doing all the behind the scenes. They're helping me. They're like part of it. So they have to do all that and then participate. So they're so tired when they do it. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just so like our school, our everything we do is such a there's just such a blip in life. Like it seems like this school year has gone so fast. And I just
Yes.
think we just have to do something. It's like, what can we do that is in our community that, helps Landon, but helps like the community's attitude and perception of people with disabilities. Like I've even seen stuff at school kind of change slightly and it could not be because of us but it may be because of us. Like you just see little changes and it makes you happy because it's like people are just thinking differently. And I mean, Landon is just such a sweet soul. He's just such a sweet person who loves like everybody. He will never forget your face, if he meets you. It's just nice to have something that's like a
Physical.
calming sensory thing that
Yeah.
is a sport. It's
Yeah.
just
Right.
a nice.
Well, and especially as, I mean, I know in the Williams syndrome community, a lot of our people are not very like, they're very sedentary, right? And so like they talk about how like as our individuals with Williams syndrome age, right? It's even more important that they have that movement and they have like something that they're doing. And so getting like exposure to sports and all different kinds of sports like you were talking about is really like healthy for them because hopefully like I know Brendan does Special Olympics. You do golf and
Swimming.
swimming.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, and I used to do basketball too, but
Yeah.
then I hurt myself really bad at practice, so I couldn't do
Oh,
that anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, fractured my
Wait,
left
so
elbow in 3 places.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But no surgery? Surgery or no
No,
surgery?
there was no
No.
bone displacement, so I didn't need surgery, thankfully.
My gosh.
Yeah.
but I mean, it's
So
important that you keep active, right?
Yes.
And I think that that's
Brendan, what do you think
healthy.
about the inclusion? Like, what do you think about when you're doing the sports? Like, you feel like do you have typical peers? Is it kind of your friends, like your neurodivergent friends? Like, what kind of crowd do you think we have over there?
Yeah, I think it's very, especially with like Special Olympics, it's very inclusive. Like we train and include everybody. So we have unified players that come and hang out and help with everything. And yeah, they're all very cool, and very kind and, want us to all do well. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Love that. Well, like, so for people that want to follow you and are excited about what you're doing, and we will definitely talk because I always love learning from people, and I'm sure I have like lots of tips and tidbits that we could give you as well from what we're doing. How can people find you on like social media or I don't know, do you guys put stuff out on YouTube?
So we are on Instagram. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Include Landon. And we have a website, let'includelandon.org,
Okay.
which I sometimes don't always update as frequently. I would say Instagram is our most updated
Okay.
for events and things. And hopefully more people are going to find us after being on the podcast, I would hope. But
Oh yeah.
everything where we get more,
So cute.
exposure, I feel like helps, get the word out, because we are really grassroots, and it started where it's just, the first 5K was like our friends and family, but then it really grew, and the people that came to it the next year were saying, "Oh, we're so proud of you, and we're so proud of Landon and all the things," because we don't even know the people, like, and now it's kind of gone like a little bit outside of our community, and it's just fun to see it grow. But we definitely are applying, as everyone does, for grants, which is obviously, competitive. So we have applied. It's kind of like I'm doing this as being the, mom who is doing everything with the kids and volunteering at school and volunteering at everything, and so it's just trying to have the time to sit down and do that. But I do have good, board members that are my friends. But it's like growing the board probably a little bit and trying to sit down. And I just feel like a lot of times we get, "Hey, do you want to come talk to our school?" And, "Hey, do you want to come do this?" And I always say yes. And then time just goes on. But we will definitely get there. I just envision this for Landon and Austin as being, if it did grow into something huge, like Special Olympics or Best Buddies, like if it would grow into that, it would just be my vision that they could do this together and, have this be their, like, something that they do and grow, and they can, travel and do this, because I feel like they would love it and it would help them, like, stay close. But
absolutely, I love that. And so, like, you are a nonprofit, right? So if people want to donate, they can do that through your website too.
Yes, we have a donate tab, and there's all different ways to do that on there. I also feel like I didn't talk enough about Landon.
Landon's like about Landon. He's real cute. I just saw his picture.
Oh, yes, I know. That one's a couple years old. I know. Landon, he's going to be taller than me. If you saw that picture, he's a lot bigger now. Landon he is just such a light. He's just this wonderful person. And I'm just so thankful to be his mom. So I had this quote I was going to tell you. It's from the Practical AAC. She's a speech therapist.
Yeah.
But have you guys heard this? It's perceptions drive expectations. Expectations drive opportunities. Opportunities drive achievements, and achievements drive perceptions. That's the whole point of doing activities like Let's Include Landon, to put people in the position to be able to achieve things, and change perceptions. And I just think that the only limits Landon has and people with disability has are the perceptions that people with disabilities
put on them.
can't do something. Yes, exactly. Like low expectations and not having the opportunities, and I just think it's what we say at our events is, inclusion is not about doing something nice for someone, one time, like, "Oh, I went to this event and I should feel good about myself and now I don't have to do anything." It's like realizing that we all belong equally, if you're as a teammate, as a classmate, anywhere in your community.
I love that. I love that. And I do think that the work that you're doing, as well as so many other parents, like, is making a difference, and it is paying off. And I know, like, for me growing up, I wasn't ever around people with disabilities. That just was like, they weren't in my school, they weren't playing sports, right? And like, gosh, I wish I would have had that opportunity to, like, have learned and grown, right? Because I feel like that would have made me such a better parent to a person with a disability. But hopefully, like, we're doing that for others. And, I think it's like what did they say? 1 in 4 people are born with a disability. And so, you've got to think, like, these kids that we're raising alongside Landon and Stella and Brendan, like, they may end up having kids with disabilities, and they will remember these moments for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that so much.
I actually had a couple of questions for Brendan. I'm forgetting since I was crying. Can I ask you a couple
Please,
things?
no worries. Ask away.
He would love
Okay,
to.
I was just going to say, what message would you give to my kids? Like, if you could say something about Williams syndrome or inclusion, if you could say something to Landon and Austin, the 10 and 7-year-old, if you could tell the younger kids, what would you tell them?
Although Landon has Williams syndrome, I have Williams syndrome, it does not define us. It does not make us who we are. We can do anything if we put our mind to it. I never let anything get in the way of something that I want to pursue. So always stay true to yourself. Don't ever be what any other person wants you to be, just be you.
I love that. They're going to listen to that and they're going to love it. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's great. Awesome.
I also was going to ask you with the teenagers, do you have advice to give me as Lana gets older? One of the things that I wanted to ask was he's turning 11 in May, just transitioning to, because I was talking about kind of what he needs at different ages, transitioning from the little kid, I guess, to the preteen. Any advice to give Landon more freedom? I have been doing all the activities kind of with him,
Yeah.
or near around, but I know he wants the independence, but any advice about independence and this age that you remember, I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, I'm an uncle of five, so
Oh
I
my
get
gosh.
it. Yeah, the eldest is just gonna be turning 21 in January.
Gosh.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so my sister has three kids, and my stepbrother has two kids. But yeah, independence takes time. It doesn't really happen overnight. It's something that you have to work on, but in time, he'll get there. He will.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know I think I have to let him do more. Like, did your parents let you like go places or, by yourself? And I guess like how did you
Well,
transition to that?
my journey with Williams syndrome was different because I wasn't diagnosed until I was almost 13.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so my experience with that was kind of different. Over the years, I became independent. I lived out of state for a while and grew my independence there. And nowadays, I live in a town where everything is in walking distance, so
Okay.
I'm pretty independent, so I don't have to really rely on my parents as much as I used to because I used to live out in the sticks, 7 miles from center of town, but it takes time and you got to work at it and be confident in yourself and, be aware.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're all.
Did we answer all your questions? Did Brandon answer all your questions?
Yes. I don't know if you want to chime in on that either, but giving freedom, I know you're in that phase.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at that
Yeah.
because
Well,
I just worry and I don't know.
oh gosh, I do too. Well, I think a couple of things. Like my person with Williams syndrome is really spicy, and she it has like a lot of sensory type of things. So sometimes it is hard to have her have more independence, just because like you never know like if something's going to happen. So I always try to like make sure somebody has eyes on her. I don't know. I mean, she is fairly independent. Again, what is independence, right? Like that's a big term, but I mean, like she can be at home by herself for an hour and be
Yeah.
fine. She has a phone and she can call some people and she loves to text and she loves to look up all kinds of random things on the internet. Um, yeah, I mean, I do think it takes, like Brendan said, it takes time. Like one thing that I am noticing, which I just mentioned on our last podcast, but I think like is independence is interesting. Like we all like hear this like independence, they've got to be independent. But like one thing I'm realizing about people with Williams syndrome is like they really do strive for connection and they want to be with people. And so like
Yeah.
also in a space where I'm trying to learn that like I used to really like want all this independence for Stella, but I'm not sure she wants that. Like I don't know if that's who she is as a person.
Right.
So I'm trying to like navigate that, right? Like how do I give her independence that like helps her long-term transition to adulthood, but also honor who she is as a person with Williams syndrome and how deep
Yeah.
and how much connection is important to her.
I know,
Yeah.
I think it's like the interdependence, but then I
Yeah.
don't want to always be the person. Like I want to be able to give that to other people
Someone
that I can
else.
trust and I
Yes.
don't and I'm not.
Yep.
But as he is older, I feel like he wants that, so I need to do it, but it's
Mhm.
hard to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It is real hard. And it gets real hard as they get older, and like especially for my kids are also 3 years apart. So and maybe it's also similar in the sense that they're the same gender, they're both girls. So it's like more apparent, but like where my younger daughter, who's 13, is doing stuff. 12, I guess 12. I'm trying to age her too fast. Like, and Stella's not. And so sometimes that creates a rub. And it's not because Stella doesn't want to. I just think it's, girl, we could talk for hours about this. It's a whole Oprah. But yes, if she's not getting the same as opportunities, even though we do try so hard in our community. It's just, it's hard. And so that can be the time where I see Stella like being sad because she's not more independent.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah. Producer Joel for the audio listeners has joined. To me, the independence obviously independence doesn't mean alone.
No.
Independence just means not having other people do things for you.
Yeah.
So we want that independence for our kids. What I'm finding with my son who's 14, that whole wanting to do things independently and then just doing things independently, it's kind of taking care of itself. And so from a parenting perspective, we're just doing what we can to prepare him. Mm-hmm. And now we've gotten to the point where he can come home from school by himself, like a proper Gen X latchkey kid.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so he can come home. He has a key to the house. He can get himself in. He knows to let the dog out, and take care of his fuzzy brother. That desire to have time that is his, just this kind of taking care of itself just by being a moody teenager.
Yeah.
So, Carly, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, this has been fantastic.
Yes.
So
Thank you
much.
Carly.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know that's what I do with Landon and Austin. Tell them I love you, Landon and Austin. I have to say that.
We love you too, Landon. And
we
Austin.
love you too, Landon.
Yes,
and
we
Austin.
sure do.
Thank you all.
You know what?
I love this community. You guys are amazing. I the second I found out about this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hooked. This is so awesome. And my family listens to it now. It's just, it's just so great what you're doing.
We also love you, husband. What's his name?
What is it, Mike? It's Mike, right? You did say his name.
Mike.
Mike.
We
And
love
he
you.
has to come to all the events.
Or,
Whether he knows about them or not. He has
if Mike is anything like me, he doesn't have a name. He's just Landon and
Yeah, he's just
dad.
yeah.
He said,
Totally.
yes, I will be
You've
there.
been listening to the Starry-Eyed Podcast, presented by the Williams Syndrome Association and sponsored by InnerSense Organic Beauty. The show is hosted by Jennifer Keaton and Brendan Lemieux and produced by me, Joel Listman. All music by Tommy Barbarella and Mariella Elm. Got a question for the show? Email us at podcast@williams-syndrome.org. Video version of the podcast available on the Williams Syndrome Association channel on YouTube and on the Starry-Eyed Podcast page on Facebook. Audio version available wherever you get your podcast delights. So like and subscribe and help spread some Williams Syndrome awareness.